United Nations is an organization with goals of peace and sustainable development around the world. Their mission is huge, but we're breaking it down in 2 minutes. 17 sustainable development goals. Let's get to them, cause the more you know. Look, in some corners of the world today, people are living on $1 a day. Hey.
Sustainable development goals. Hey. So I'm sorry. I literally found that right before I put this video together. So I was like, I'm dropping this. What? That's from the UN's official YouTube channel, guys. Okay, posted 4 years ago, which is fitting because we're about to go back in time. Welcome back to another episode of your Digital Hustle News. As always, I'm Wade Teamer. Today, as you can see, guys, we are talking about a very, very important subject: sustainable development, cryptocurrencies. Okay, what do I mean by that? Well, basically, as you can see behind me, guys, we have 17 sustainable development goals. You may have heard these as SDGs, okay? I'm pretty sure that when they talk about the environment, you oftentimes hear this term. We have been talking about it all year, okay? We know that these agendas come down from the top. Larry Fink, BlackRock CEO, largest asset manager on earth, put this in a letter to his stakeholders that all the nations and the corporations on this planet must adhere to these goals, okay? Now that's just one person, but thanks to the fam, not financial advice.crypto on Twitter, guys. You know, I'll put the link down in the episode guide for this video, but he put together a Twitter thread of the century, I like to call it. And what it essentially explains is how we can invest into these SDGs over the next 10 years, which cryptos that we can invest in. All right. Now, we're gonna run through the thread because he also gives us the backstory of the sustainable development goals. And there's some more information that comes along with that thread, guys. You know, I'm gonna carry you through it. But we're gonna, on the back end of that, we're gonna get to some potential options for cryptos in which for us to get into. And a couple of them we are very, very familiar with. So let's not waste any more time. Smash that like button and let's get this started. Now, he starts the tweet by saying, where can we find the best investments of the next 10 years? Well, simply, we need to take a look at where the world's wealthiest action groups plan on investing $7 trillion to achieve their new vision for the world. Now, in September of 2015, 193 countries of the United Nations endorsed 17 sustainable development goals to be obtained by 2030. When I say Agenda 2030, this is what I'm talking about, guys. The SDGs provide a common and agreed upon framework to advance the world's future by resolving our most pressing sustainability issues. Okay, a whole lot happened. Right after 2014, didn't it? Interesting. But yes, you can see here, guys, they came together. Agenda consists of 17 goals to design and end poverty and hunger by 2030. New goals expected to shape political policy worldwide for the next 15 years. Political policy worldwide. Very key point, okay? Very key point there. But continues to put it simply, the SDGs act as a roadmap directing the efforts of countries and global brands to achieve the UN's vision for a better world. And it doesn't take a lot of digging to realize how massive this agenda is. Google, Microsoft, Samsung, just to name a few. Now, we're going to get into the cryptos, of course, that do the same thing, but I just want to put this little gem in your ear before we step forward. What have we been talking about just this week alone? Okay, Tesla's Gigafactory. Him and Jack Dorsey, along with everyone over at Blockstream, they're going to mine Bitcoin using solar energy. Okay, a week prior, Chris Larson is stepping out, talking about changing the code, not the climate. Let's move forward, okay? Now, the SDGs for 2030, they act like a crystal ball for long-term investing because its intended outcomes are specific and highly likely to continue being moved forward by the United Nations. Okay, so we're not talking about just a single non-government organization, a nonprofit, or, you know what I'm saying, just a single corporation looking to push these through. This is a global initiative, guys, a global movement. Okay, I can say this information is just as powerful as the ISO 20022 information. All right, because if you look at it like this, ISO furthers these goals. All right, and we'll get to that in a second as to how, but it goes on to display what technologies will be needed to operationalize and that we can use to invest. Now, here we have a graphic of blockchain for SDGs. This comes from a report, which I will also have linked down in the description, called Distributed Ledger Use Cases from the ITU, an agency of the United Nations, right? Now, just really quick, I want to just break down a couple of these just to reinforce how much this is already happening, okay? We're gonna start with number 5. Number 5 is gender equality. Now, growing up in the 90s, okay, it was a man's world. That's what I was hearing. All right, men ran everything, right? So forth and so on. But by the time I got to high school, boy, that changed. And it changed rapidly. And I'm talking about in media, politics, business world, everywhere. Like, women were emerging. They were emerging, right? So admittedly, in my 20s, I'm coming up, and I had a very different respect for women because I felt spiritually that the world was anointing the ladies. All right. Again, that would also explain why when I started this channel, I didn't just want a bunch of dudes watching this channel. Where are the ladies at? Okay. Because I knew that things were changing. We also entered the age of Aquarius. And if you take a look at a picture of Aquarius, it's clearly a woman. And this is the age of enlightenment. So, ladies, it's y'all time. Okay. But to bring it into retrospect here, gender equality, microcredits, ICT literacy, novel governance structures. When you see a program like STEM, specifically focused on little girls, it's part of these goals, okay? When you see more women in the workplace, it's part of these goals. Now, I'm not saying that that's the sole reason and that is not justified. Again, I love my ladies. Yeah, should have been here, okay? Should have been like this years ago, but I give you this example to show you how much this is already happening. All right, let's just go back to the big old when 5 crypto execs, when Stellar Lumens, Coinbase, FTX, Binance.us showed up in Congress. Brian Brooks and Sam Bankman-Fried were the only 2 men on that panel. Danielle Dixon, okay, can't remember the lady's name from Coinbase at the moment, but you get what I'm talking about. All right, and then not to mention, for us HBAR holders, we have Caramel Cadet moving things along with MTech, Project New Dawn. There are a lot of women in powerful positions in a large majority of these crypto companies, of these blockchain companies, guys. Not to mention Kathy Wood, okay? If she hasn't been right yet, give it 5 years, okay? It's the reason why she's being positioned the way she's being positioned. All of that goes into goal number 5. Now, let's move around a little bit. I want to go to goal number 1 because this really ties us into the financial aspect, and it's going to lead us into our crypto discussion. Now, number 1 is no poverty. Efficient access to credit, crowdsourcing, crowd lending, financial traceability. Right now, what is that? Where is that already present? Blockchain technology, cryptocurrency. But there's going to be another agenda that we are very familiar with that's going to kick that off faster than we realize, specifically the financial traceability part, okay? ISO 2022. Yes, it fits right up under this, okay? Especially when we get to the part later in this video on the specific use cases that the people that put these lists of goals together look to use DLT for. Now, this particular graphic here that we're looking at is courtesy of ITU, an agency of the United Nations. And this is, it's come from their report, Distributed Ledger Technology Use Cases. Now, of course, this will be linked down in the episode guide under this video, but there are two important quotes that I want to pull from this. One, NFA provided, he says, connectivity, internet, and digital solutions are essential for successfully achieving nearly all of these goals. That's a direct quote from that report. But I also found one from that report that is just as profound. Okay. It simply states that the use of these distributed ledger technologies are an excellent way to track the progress of these goals. Okay. If you understand distributed ledger technology and you understand what blockchain is, tracking of data, that's why it exists. All right. Now, pretty much like he says here, these goals cannot be achieved without crypto. All right. Now, again, we're not talking about small investment here. The technological restructuring one more time. The technological restructuring of the entire world won't come cheap. Boy, I love the way you write. Love the way you write, fam. A UN report suggests achieving the SDG targets by 2030 would require $7 trillion. With that number, guys, you can throw a dart into the wind and hit something. Okay, you could throw a dart into the abyss, and hit at that point. Okay, now a ton of money is coming into this, is going towards these goals, and they look to use DLT and blockchain technology. So with all of that being said, where can we center our focus? Well, as he says, this is the good part. Now, this is a report called The Future is Decentralized. The United Nations Development Working Paper explains how blockchain technology works and how it is already being used for development ends. Now, in this report, they focus on 5 specific sections, okay? And these 5 sections, we know all too well. Number 1, remittances. I know all of you just screamed out XRP. It's fine. Or XDC, or probably Stellar, or even Algorand, right? Right. Now, number 2, renewable energy. Somebody say it for me. Web token. Okay. Now, the next one is property rights. This one's kind of interesting. This one's very interesting. We'll break down which cryptos he's compared it to, and I'll give you mine, of course. We're going to correlate this with the Power 42 as well, guys. But property rights, interesting subject. What we're talking about here is the tokenization of physical property, right? There's a lot of discussion about metaverse land. Okay. That's pulling from that. You can tie that into that as well. But it also brings to mind a situation last year we talked about with Raven Coin and the tokenization of homes in Wisconsin. That type of thing. Now, number 4, supply chains. I don't even have to say it, do I? But he provided another token that I've also had my eye on for a while. I just didn't quite understand what it was focused on. It's called Origin Trail, right? Very interesting, very interesting. But the last one, and quite possibly my favorite, is the digital ID. All right. Now, again, this document will be in the episode guide. It's about 74 pages. But if you want to stay ahead of the curve, you're going to read it. Okay. Now, of course, we get into the examples. For remittance, he provides us with XRP, XLM. But we already know there are a number of other cryptos that have the capability to do the same thing. Okay. And with the way Binance has been working between the Ukraine and Dubai, I'm pretty sure they're about to kick off a payment system as well. Not to mention, we have the theme of cryptos adopting stable coins. They're trying to bring a stable coin to Bitcoin. What are stable coins going to be used for? remittances, right? So when it comes to that aspect, not only do we have XRP, Stellar, crypto.com can be slid in here, Algorand, XDC. Come on, give me some more. Elrond. Let's see. Let's go to the list. Cello, which is another project. I'm going to pull up the Power 42 here, but Cello is another project that, you know, I don't talk about as much, but that's because they move so, I don't want to say slowly, I want to say methodically. Okay, they move very methodically. Now, let me just pull up this Power 42 really fast. That way we can get out some more remittance type tokens. Okay, now, of course, we know Digibyte could be strong with the payments game, but with Digi has a specific spot on another category, and you guys know which one I'm talking about. But yeah, IOTA also has a payments network. ICP also has a payments network. Of course, Solana, Request Network. I think I'm the only person on YouTube talking about Request Network, because I don't think anybody understands that the payroll system, the traditional payroll system, is stupid. It barely works. Request Network just replaced it on the blockchain. And what are they focusing on? Remittances. With a rush towards remote work, guys, you're going to see scenarios where you're going to work for a company from a different country in your bedroom, and they're going to be paying you. And what that payment is going to be in the form of is remittances. Okay. So yeah, again, guys, we have XDC, Cello, Acoin, right? XRP, AMP, even Alchemy Pay. All right. So just giving it out there, guys, just giving you the real sauce today. Now, let's get into the next section. Of course, after remittances, we have energy. And of course, everybody knows this by now, Energy Web Token. Energy Web Token. I don't know how many, look, I tried to tell people about the climate years ago. They ain't listen. I'm trying to tell people about Energy Web Token now. And I know majority of you guys are listening because we talk about Energy Web a lot, but still, man, this particular thread got maybe couple thousand likes all together. That's a small percentage of people still. So we're in a select group right now. It's 2022. These goals look to be achieved by 2030. We get this game down now. I'll see y'all at a what's that? I want a presidential suite in Dubai or something, and we throwing a party. Okay, but yes, next one, Energy Web Token, and then Power Ledger. You guys have been screaming that at me recently. I'm gonna take a look into it. But with these examples, guys, it's not a de facto list. It's just more so to get you to focus on which direction to go. All right. Now, with energy, every time you hear about a project that looks to go carbon neutral or carbon negative or just trying to be energy efficient, if their focus is that, you're in the right place. Okay. Hedera Hashgraph, one of our favorite blockchain projects over here, is carbon negative. It's the only carbon negative blockchain that I can recall. I think Tezos is also carbon negative, and then there's a couple other small caps, but you know, that's outside of the already energy sector, Energy Web, Power Ledger, right? So that all compiles together. Okay. Now we got the energy. Let's get into the supply chain. Okay. Now, of course, we know king of supply chain, VeChain. And then there's going to be a link to 3 blockchain protocols, an article that was posted in Cointelegraph. There was VeChain, it was Origin Trail, which is track, right? And then there's another small cap coin, which I haven't really heard about since. So, but our focus would be VeChain and Origin Trail. Now, there's another small gem that we talked about before on this channel that focuses on the supply chain, strictly on the business logistics side. And I believe that token is called One Ledger. Okay. But you can see these aims, these goals, they only have very few assets connected to them. All right. So again, we are in elite. This is elite information. This is just as deep as the ISO 20022 conversation, guys, because ISO 2022 fits right under these goals again. So next, we're going to get into property rights. Now, like I said, my personal, my personal experience, I know that Ravencoin does this well. Okay. But there's another project called Reserve Rights. Now, if you're a crypto.com app user, you may have seen this token on there. It's called RSR. It's a little small, quiet token. It's at the bottom of the list, and you don't really see it often. But that token is part of Coinbase Ventures portfolio, yet they have not listed it on their service. Now, for public investing. When will they? My point exactly. So RSR, Ravencoin, but the focus is, and we'll use this article as a source, how NFTs could change real estate, the digitization of physical assets, guys. That's what we're dealing with here, tokenization. All right. So if you're looking at blockchain projects and they're looking to tokenize physical assets, real world goods, and bring them to the blockchain, you're heading in the right direction. Okay. Now, the next one, of course, is digital identity. And I have been telling you guys all year, all throughout 2021, this is my number one pick for the digital ID race, simply because, like I said, I know the people that's working on it. I feel like I have a personal connection with these people after what we went through last year. But Digibyte, Antum ID, United Arab Emirates, they're already there. They're ready. All they have to do is just click and it's activated. But on top of that, we have Civic. Now, CVC, I have a very unique story about Civic. When they pumped after an announcement that they were going to be selected for a C-19 vaccine pass, right? Caught that pretty decent pump, made a couple dollars from it. And with that, I started to just look into the project. A lot of people don't like this project, okay? And I think it's because they don't understand it, or they don't accept the fact that its central focus is is digital identities, okay? Data tracking, and then if you get their app, and then here's another one. Cello also has this same feature. Their app, Valora, and then Civic has an app too, but both of these apps allow you to store your digital identity on them, okay? So that's what we're looking at with that. Now, digital identity also brings up Web3 in its entirety. Web3 is how digital ID comes into the fold, okay? It's just being called something else. Web3 is digital ID, simply put. So, and with that, there's your signal right there. Like Ethereum killers is another signal. If they say Web3 about a project, or if a project comes out and speaks Web3, they're focusing on digital identity, okay? Now, let's get into the last one, because this one, is one of my favorites. Internet communication, the Internet of Things, IoT, all right? We have been all on IoT since day one. IOTA, IoTX, Fetch AI. Let's see, there's another one too. Singularity, I believe it, AGIX, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Internet communication, the Internet of Things. That's that base layer, all right? That's that foundation layer. I'm gonna pull up the Power 42 just to give you some more examples, guys. But when I say the foundation layer, the base layer, the 5G layer, all right, that geolocation. So we're talking XYO in this situation, all right? That digital infrastructure needs to be laid in order for a number of these goals to happen. And to give you more examples of which projects could be attached to this. Number 7, affordable and clean energy, microtransactions, transparent local markets. Okay, we oftentimes hear Tezos dealing with that carbon credit marketplace. So that's where that's going to come from. Now, we also have number 9, which is industry innovation and infrastructure, supply chain traceability, SSCM, open innovation, no unnecessary intermediaries. Now, I just did a video about VeChain where I said that I believe Larry Fink is indirectly endorsing it. And this is why. It brought up a conversation in the comments I was talking about with a brother of mine. He wanted me to clarify a little bit of things, and that I did. Essentially, what I said was what they summarized here. Open innovation, no unnecessary intermediaries. That's streamlining the supply chain process all on one track, okay? One track. That's what that means. Now, number 12, sustainable cities and communities, smart cities, collective decisions, peer-to-peer markets. That's IoT, that's DeFi, that's Acon City, okay? So, like, this thing is just so heavy. I'm definitely going to be doing a follow-up to this, you know, maybe even a documentary style of video, because I really want to be able to compress even more information on this subject, guys. But for the time being, I'm just going to leave you with that. And I'm going to leave you with one final point here. Again, if we get ahead of this transition and we pair it with our ISO knowledge, there's no way we could miss, guys. There's just no way we can miss. But for this particular presentation, guys, I'm gonna leave it right here for you. Gotta go and punch the clock. But if you found value in this content, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. And if you want more information on the ISO transition, of course, I have all that information for you. It's directly on the homepage of the channel. I'm going to leave you to this funky rap that's going to further explain these goals. And then, of course, at the end, I'm going to give you a couple options for you to continue viewing and then go about your Sunday prosperous and strong. But with all that being said, guys, I want you to have a great day. Have a prosperous day. And most importantly, if that money is digital, so is the hustle. I'll see y'all in the next.
The United Nations is an organization with goals of peace and sustainable development around the world. Their mission is huge, but we're breaking it down in 2 minutes. 17 sustainable development goals. Let's get to them, cause the more you know. Look, in some corners of the world today, people are living on $1 a day. Hey, that's not how it ought to be. So go 1, eliminate poverty, and go 2, root out hunger across the globe. There's 800 million people hungry, if you want to know. Number 3 is health and well-being, and getting people the health care that they need in. Learning in school are the hard to go for. Education opens up minds and doors. Goal number 5 is empower girls and women so they can have the same rights that men are given. Number 6, people need water that's clean. Poor sanitation can spread disease. Carbon-free energy is goal number 7, and how to achieve it is the question that's pressing. But if we put our minds together and work hard, we can find a solution, I'm guessing. 17 sustainable development goals to improve life all around the globe. Protecting human health and the environment. Whatever bed we make, we gon' have to lie in it. 17 sustainable development goals to improve life all around the globe. Protecting human health and the environment. Whatever bed we make, we gon' have to lie in it. Now imagine that you work all day for no pay. Economic growth and decent work is goal 8. Goal number 9 is to foster innovation in infrastructure and industrialization. Goal number 10, inequality reduction. 11 is sustainable city construction. 12, well, that's sustainable consumption, so what we use matches up with production. Goal 13 calls for urgent action to combat climate change, cause we know it's happening. 14, protect life under seas. 15, protect life on land. Goal 16 is for peace and justice all over the planet. They're in high demand. And the final goal, number 17, is the critical factor, the heart of the machine. It's the strength in the way we achieve these goals of sustainable development around the globe. Yo, 17 sustainable development goals to improve life all around the globe. Protecting human health and the environment. Whatever bed we make, we gon' have to lie in it. 17 sustainable development goals to improve life all around the globe. Protecting human health and the environment. Whatever bed we make, we gon' have to lie in it.